Hi, everyone. My name is Anika Verma, and I am the Chief Communications Officer at the Steamboat. For those of you who don't know, we interview various students who have showcased an interest in STEAM and/or leadership through exceptional means. And I'm pleased to announce our next student, Zoya. Zoya has been a winner of our hackathon that we hosted in this month of March. So, Zoya, can you please introduce yourself?
Okay, so hi everyone. I'm Zoya. I'm 16 years old. I'm from Pakistan, but I live in Ivory Coast. And I'm really passionate about computer science, coding, and anything to do with computers.
All right, nice to meet you. So, can you tell us a little bit about the entire journey? So, where, when did you find out about our hackathon and how did you work from there?
Okay, so I took part in like one of Steamboat's activities last year. So I had an email about the hackathon in the newsletter. And it was actually my first hackathon, so I was really excited to take part in it. And yeah, from there, I just spent a week coding my project and I attended one of the workshops. It was just a really good experience overall.
All right, so can you go a little bit, we'll start by the workshops. So, you can go a little bit more in depth about what you did in the workshops and what that taught you.
Okay, so I attended one workshop. It was about like React. And since I'm fairly new to it, it was really nice to learn from somebody who is more experienced. And the woman who was hosting it, she was really nice too.
All right. Now, can you tell us a little bit about what you created for your hackathon? How'd you start and basically walk us through, well, maybe not the exact codes each line, but
Yeah.
kind of what your program did, parts of your program, and how it makes your project work.
Okay, so basically my project is called Code Confidence and it was built using React.js. And it has like several different features. Like first feature was She Squad, which was basically a mentor matching program where if you're interested in STEM, you can sign up and somebody who's experienced can give you like feedback and be a mentor for you. And the other section was Code Crusades, which is like a series of code challenges for you to like be more empowered in code, and also an event directory. And to do this, since I'm not that experienced in coding, first I just went through like a series of open source code and I just got inspired from there to make my own project.
All right. So, what would you say was the best part of your project?
I feel like learning new things was definitely the best.
Okay. And how would you like to see your project expand into the future?
Okay, so I feel like the problem that my project was about, women's representation in tech, it's a really big issue. And I'd love to like launch this actually and work more on the back end. And I hope that it gives women an opportunity to step into the field of tech.
I can definitely agree with all the things that you just stated. So, actually, kind of backtracking a little bit, what would you say was the most challenging part of making your project? I know you mentioned you're not very experienced, so I guess that's one challenge. But aside from that, what was something that was challenging, or where did you have like bugs in your code, for example?
Okay, so I had so many bugs throughout the process of making the code, and it was so frustrating, especially as a beginner. Yeah, and just to deal with those bugs, I went to like Stack Overflow and just googling the error messages. That really helped. But it's extremely frustrating when you see like 100 different errors in your code.
Yeah, I can definitely agree because I've done coding a few times too. And when you see those different errors and you don't know what they mean, it can get really, really overwhelming. So did you expect that you were going to be a winner? Did you expect that you were maybe going to be a popular vote winner or the overall winner? Like you're the overall winner, so that's a pretty big deal.
I was definitely not expecting that. Like I was honestly shocked. Like I mentioned before, this was my first hackathon, and winning it just makes me more motivated now.
So when you talks about how it makes you more motivated, so what would you like to do in the future? And how do you see this helping you?
Okay, so in the future, especially in uni, I want to pursue computer science. And I feel like starting now is going to give me like good experience. So I'm ready in university and then later on when I apply for jobs and stuff.
All right. So now we'll go kind of stepping all the way back to your background story. So what got you interested in STEM and computer science?
Okay, so I just really, really like computers. Like when I was younger, I'd make a lot of Scratch projects. So that really got me into coding. And also I'd play a lot of Roblox. So that like inspired my interest into just playing with computers and being around them.
So I know you mentioned that you would like to do computer science. So let me get a little bit more picky here. What kind of job would you like in the field of computer science? Because that is such a broad area.
Yeah. To be honest, I'm not sure yet. Like I'm interested towards data science, also machine learning and AI. Yeah.
I know you also mentioned that you received an internship. I don't remember the exact location of where it is. So can you tell us a little bit about that?
Okay, sure. So I'm currently interning at this Pakistan initiative, which is about air quality. And I really like it because I get to do like real-time data analysis on air quality, air pollutants in like South Asian countries. And it's just good experience for data science.
Yeah, I remember it saying that it was something about data science, and I saw that there's a connection here in what you do. So can you tell me a little bit about what classes you're currently taking in school and how they align with your STEM interests?
Okay, sure. So I'm doing the IB program right now. So my HLs are computer science, math, and physics, and that's like what's putting me towards the STEM track. And also, other than that, I do French, geography, and English.
All right, so what would you say is your favorite class?
Definitely computer science because it's just the thing I'm most interested about.
All right, so are these classes heavy workload? Do you feel that STEM classes are more time consuming than your normal classes? Any opinions on that?
Definitely, especially for physics and computer science, those are like the most heavy classworks, especially compared to classes like English or Geo. STEM just requires a lot more effort, but I
All
think
right.
it's worth it.
So how do you balance these classes and any study tips that you have?
Honest, I'm really bad at balancing work, but what I try to do is whenever I get an assignment, I just note it down and like keep a to-do list, and that really helps.
Yes, I can definitely agree with that. So I know you also mentioned that, you got your interested from gaming and things like that. So what would you say was like the spark moment and who are your inspirations?
Okay, so I remember when I was about like 10 or 11, I was trying to install a software. And you know those pop-up ads that say, oh, install, install, and accidentally ended up installing one of those malware softwares. And I was just so like intrigued, oh, this can happen. And I think that was like a turning point for me where I got really engaged into computers. Yeah.
All right.
And
Yeah, keep going.
for my inspiration, I really look up to my computer science teacher. He's somebody who's like really motivating, especially towards the girls in our class. So it like drives me.
Okay, so I think your project for the hackathon kind of answers this. But as a student, what issues in STEM matter to you the most and why do you find them important?
I definitely say, like you said, my project, underrepresentation of women. Like even in my computer science class at school, there's like such a less number of girls. And it's kind of demotivating when you don't see girls in a class full of boys. Yeah.
I can definitely agree with that. I take classes like computer science classes and I saw the same thing and I definitely see the struggles that you're going to. So now kind of moving to the side of what you do outside of school. So what extracurriculars are you part of? And please go in detail about all your extracurriculars.
Okay. So as a hobby, I really like to crochet. Yeah, that's just something I really enjoy doing. And I also made a YouTube channel a while ago for crochet tutorials. That's something I really enjoyed. And also, I like community service, giving back to the community. For instance, I like collected funds for a solar water project. And other than that, I'm also into like graphic designing and like social media management.
All right. Are you part of any organization where you're their graphic designer or anywhere that you do social media? You're the social media manager.
Okay, so currently I'm a social media manager for Our Water Planet. It's an organization about the water crisis, water droughts, and things like that. And also in the past, had an internship, a social media internship at this other organization about women's empowerment, and I made posts for their social media.
So I want to ask you a little bit more about women's empowerment because this is something we've consistently been talking about. So can you tell me about I know you definitely saw the disparities in your class. So who do you think as a lead, who do you see as a leader in your community or outside in the world as taking changes to giving women's more involvement in STEM? And what steps do you think we can take to get more women involved in STEM?
Okay, I think to take steps, we definitely need more representation and to just provide women with the resources. And someone I look up to, not necessarily for like STEM, is Malala, because she's done a lot of work for just women's education in general.
Can you tell me a little bit about the person that you just mentioned? I didn't catch their name and I haven't heard of them before.
I said Malala.
All right. And can you tell me a little bit about things that she's maybe done?
Okay, so I guess since she's from Pakistan and I'm also from Pakistan, it's kind of another source of motivation because she talks a lot about the struggles of girls in Pakistan and their access to education. And I feel that I'm very privileged to be in an opportunity to have an access to good education.
Yes, I definitely agree with similar to you. So, what do you think are the most important skills needed to pursue STEM?
I'd say critical thinking and just thinking outside the box and thinking creatively.
All right, so I guess the hackathon is a great example of that because you were able to use creative thinking. And heading back to that, can you tell me about any future projects that you'd like to create? And can you tell me a little bit about past projects that you've created?
Okay, so recently I did this sort of machine learning project through Google's Teachable AI machine. And what it did was you show a piece of trash, for instance, like an empty box or something, and it'll tell you, oh, you're supposed to put this in this type of recycling bin. Yeah.
Yeah, I think done that program similarly too.
Okay. And also, I'm planning to do an initiative in my community where I teach young girls how to code and how to work with computers. And I hope that would empower young girls to join STEM.
That's a really, really great mission that you have, and I hope you best of luck into that. If you don't mind, I don't know if you answered this in the beginning, but what grade are you in?
I'm in 11th grade right now.
All right, so you're about to graduate after next year, so I think, and once you get a degree, obviously you'll have a lot more skills to be able to teach computer science. So I think that's kind of amazing that you're able to do this and you're interested. I know you also mentioned about using Scratch, and that's something I've also used before, and it's a great platform to learn like beginner coding. So can you tell me about little fun games or projects that you did on there?
Okay, so Scratch is like what really got into programming as a kid. And I just make a few like fun chat bots and like, oh, first person shooting game and just small projects like that.
All right, yeah, they sound extremely fun. So I guess now I'll move a little bit about how you see STEM in the real world and its applications. So what latest innovation or achievement in STEM has caught your attention or interest and why?
Okay. Hmm. I'd say ChatGPT and all of the AI models that are being introduced. That's something which is like really fascinating to me because it's so new. And I feel like there's endless possibilities to what AI can achieve.
I definitely agree with that. I've heard taken multiple interviews of different people before, and this is something I've consistently heard AI, AI, and AI. And this is a question that I'm just about to ask again after asking so many people. So, to what extent do you see AI use as ethical? How do you see it replacing jobs or changing jobs? And how do you see basically AI playing out into the future?
Okay, I feel like AI, since it's so powerful, it's definitely going to have an impact on especially the computer science industry. And it's also something that scares me, like, oh, what if it takes over our jobs? But I feel like the possibility for that is quite low because it's definitely not to the capabilities of a software engineer yet.
Yeah, I can definitely agree with that. And I also asked this one other additional follow-up question to most students that are in school. How do you see AI use in school, and how can we use it to our benefits while still making it educational?
Okay. So my school, they're really strict about AI use and they get really mad if you use AI. But I think that it shouldn't be that way. It's a resource kind of like Google, and you should be allowed to use that ethically, not just like copy paste whatever ChatGPT says, but use it to brainstorm and as a personal tutor too.
Yeah, I definitely agree because AI is basically like you finding the best link on Google. It's just you don't have to do all the work. You don't have to spend hours trying to find the best link for your research project. It just gives you the best link or the best of all these different links. So it's similar to Google, like you said, just it's much more efficient and gives us the right answer when we need it. So I definitely am on the same side. Have you navig how this question is kind of moving away from everything that we just talked about. So how have you navigated challenges or setbacks in pursuing STEM, and what did you learn from these experiences?
Okay. So one of the biggest setback I'd say is my own father. He's really against like women going into computer science and stuff because he just sees it as like a male dominated field. And I guess now he's kind of like more aware of it, but I've just been working on computer science on my own, like trying to do online courses and stuff to like prove to him that it's actually quite valuable.
So I know you just quickly mentioned online courses, and I think the viewers of our video would like to know, like, how can they start their computer science journey if they don't know where to start? So how did you start?
Okay, so me, I started through Coursera and Udacity. Their websites full of online courses about like computer science, Python, Java, whatever language you want. That and just search whatever you want on YouTube, like how to do this tutorial, and you'll find so many useful resources.
All right. So now I'm looking at the resume that you submitted, and you're an intern for Young Peacemaker programs. So can you tell me a little bit about this? I think you mentioned it earlier, but we never got to go in a little bit more detail about that.
So this is something I did over the last summer, and it's honestly one of the most interesting programs I've ever done. It's about religious minorities in Pakistan and all the violence they have to face. And me, along with my colleague, I conducted research on extremism and radicalization in Pakistan. And it really opened my eyes to the hardships they have to face.
All right. And then I also see another internship you did called Creative Intern, and you created content for, I think, Betty's social media. So can you tell me a little bit about this?
Okay, so this is the internship I talked about before, the one about women empowerment. So I just created posts about like awareness topics about women's rights and stuff.
Okay. And I also noticed that you're able to code in quite a few languages. So can you tell me about maybe one thing you like about each of the languages and maybe which language your favorite and what you like to use?
Okay, so my favorite is definitely Python because it's the easiest, I'd say, and it's also most similar to like English. And also, I'm also learning Java at school right now, but to be honest, I don't like it because it just feels very backward and too complicated compared to Python.
I can definitely agree. I've used Python and Java before too. I'm currently actually learning Java and it's just a mess. It's just a mess.
Yeah.
It's a lot of different things. And I also, you've also probably used HTML and JavaScript on the side for fun. I also noticed that you received two awards, one for academic excellence and another for rising service. So can you tell me a little bit about these?
Okay, so the award about academic excellence, this was awarded to students who received excellent grades in English. And the Rising Service Award, this was presented to two students in my grade who demonstrated like excellence in their community and involvement in community service.
All right. So going back to our hackathon, would you participate next year if we do have a hackathon? And what project would you create?
I would definitely take part again next year because I enjoyed so much this year. And it definitely depends on the theme. So I can't say yet.
You can't say yet. All right. If you were to participate in a hackathon with an open-ended theme or any other hackathon doesn't have to be hosted by us. There's so many different organizations or maybe local organizations near your area that might host a hackathon. So what kind of project would you like to create?
I want to do something related to the environment or even air quality. Like, I'm thinking of making a dashboard for air quality for different countries around the world.
I think that's a really cool project. And with climate change and all of that, we definitely have to start focusing in more on these kind of things. And I guess kind of a question I got relating to that, how do you see STEM helping us in climate change and what can we do?
Okay. I think even computer science, it's so powerful, especially data science. We can analyze data related to climate to make more powerful and educated decisions about climate related topics.
So I think air pollution, I guess, is probably the biggest issue that you care about in climate change. And it's I hope I'm correct about that because I've seen a lot of trends in what she said is air pollution. So what would you say is probably the second biggest thing affecting climate change?
Um, I'd say burning fossil fuels because there's just so much of it going on, and we really need to make the move to renewable energy sources.
Yeah, I definitely see that kind of like change that we need to do, and we hardly have much time left to fix all
Yeah.
these issues. And think there's something that really powerful and technology can be really helpful, specifically seeing AI. Like there's AI that can be used to clean up ocean trash in actual real life to detect what's going on, and we can save marine life. And I think that can be used for air pollution, air control, and things like that that you've already previously mentioned. So I don't really have much more questions for you specifically. So can you just tell me a little bit more about your STEM achievements? Any other thing that you've done in STEM that makes you proud?
Okay. So let me think. Okay, something else I do. I'm a writer for an organization called WinSci, and it just promotes STEM education in Pakistan. And also, I write blogs on Medium about topics related to coding and AI.
That's so exciting, writing, blog writing, and AI and all of that. So I guess you definitely have a lot of perspective on AI because you do blog writing. Can you maybe tell us a little bit about one blog that you did that's your favorite and what you went into?
Okay, so a recent blog I wrote was about gender bias in AI, and it kind of links to what I did, woman in STEM, right? So a big issue with AI is that, first of all, there's not enough women making AI, which is why AI is biased towards women. And something I read was how during interviews, a lot of companies they use AI to recruit candidates. And such AI models, they're biased against women and they tend to prefer men over women.
Wow, that's actually something new that I learned today because I didn't realize, how AI is affected and how it can change the way we view because that's actually really exciting to think about because AI is pulling data off from the real world and people who input it are more males. So I definitely see that connection and I think that's a really great fact that you're informing people about and I think it's amazing. So before we end our interview today, I'd just like to ask you about how was your overall experience with our hackathon and anything you'd like to share about your STEM journey, anything you'd like to share with our audience about women empowerment, that would be amazing.
Okay. So I really enjoyed my journey with the Steamboat, and I'm so glad I was able to do this. And I like to say that if you're interested in STEM, don't be afraid, just go for it. There's so many resources out there and so many people who are willing to help you. So don't be afraid and just go for it.
All right, and I guess I'd like to conclude our interview here today. So I want to thank Zoya for joining us this week on our student series interview project. And if you're interested in getting interviewed by our team, be sure to check out the form shared in the description. And we're always looking for interested students. So we interview anyone between the ages of 14 and 22, but we'll always make exceptions for grad students who are doing amazing work. We hope to see you back here again on Monday for our next installment. Thank you, everyone.